So it starts with like it's
Welcome to everyone, Bruchim Habayim. It's really such an honor and a privilege to be here with you tonight as we celebrate this auspicious birthing and rebirthing and this Siyum HaSefer, this moment of seeing the new lights of Embers of Pilgrimage, this remarkable new collection of contemporary Jewish Americana mystical poetry by Eitan Fishbane that we're here to celebrate tonight. I'm so grateful to Eitan and to Aaron, who are emerging in this moment now together in this beautiful creative collaboration to celebrate this very auspicious moment that, of course, everyone I'm sure is aware is somewhere between Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, and Yud Tet Kislev. It's no mistake that we're celebrating this moment of deep creative renewal as the embers of our pilgrimage are always on fire. And this evening is also a night that marks the renewal of the Jewish Hasidic tradition when we are freed from our prisons. And tonight I hope that we can inaugurate through this wonderful collaborative moment of poetry and music and the impulse of Neo-Hasidut, a new Rosh Hashanah LaChasidut for Shira Chadasha. That is, that we are renewing our love and compassion for all sentient beings in this moment through the inspiration of this remarkable poetry that Eitan is going to share with us tonight, through the musical interpretation and the soundscapes of Aaron Lightstone, the lead guitarist and composer of Jaffa Road, whose new album, Until When, is an amazing soundscape for your spiritual journeys. And I really hope that you just open your hearts and minds to this incredible opportunity that we have to deepen ourselves into the journey towards the hidden light of Hanukkah, to the deeper gratitude that is emerging with Thanksgiving. And we'll end on a note of love, always love. Thanks to all of you, and thanks to the work of Panui that I'm blessed to be directing in this moment of emergence. So I want to turn now to our guests of honor tonight for the Siyum HaSefer, and thank you all for coming. I'll ask you to remain on mute, but as you mute, really to open your hearts and to open the soundscapes of your souls for this remarkable journey that we're about to enter into together. B'chavod, we're going to call on our poet laureate of the moment on 19th Kislev. This is going to become an annual tradition with Panui, I think, as we turn with deep gratitude and love for the Or HaGanuz, for the hidden light that Eitan so inimitably has shared with us through his beautiful book, available through Panui, called Embers of Pilgrimage. And I believe tonight we're going to dive first and foremost into Hanukkah, followed by Thanksgiving. And so I ask you to open your hearts and minds as our poet extraordinaire and our muse and musical aficionado, Aaron Lightstone, take us deeply into this moment. Welcome, welcome one and all.
Thank you, Aubrey. Thank you, Aaron. And thank you, all of you, for being with us tonight. So this first poem is called Hanukkah, or the Mystery of Fire. Winter night, expecting heavy snow, schools closing early, breath baited for the depth of that magical white blanket. Dim and shadowy solstice time in the crater of the calendar, and it's cold so deep. The mystery of darkness, like infinity before the outrush of color and light, as the divine universe takes form again and again. Utsina de Cardinuta, spark of darkness. Paradox and occlusion, the frame of this season. Prayers for light to rise amid the black night that follows shortened days. Though I dwell in darkness, God is my light. And the light that ascends, illuminating the dark, is the glow of the hidden miracle, the Nes Nistar, that fills the world as it fills the heart. Al Hanisim ve'al Hapurkan, because of the miracles and the salvation. In the day, my backyard smooth and fresh, untouched snow, unmarked and pure like a clean sheet of paper, and the freezing air bright with the afternoon sun, the redemptive glow of the sun. My 8-year-old boy and I, scrawling our names in the snow with a long and thin stick he has found, treasures of the earth and its remnants of growth, making snow angels and then lying still on our backs, holding hands with outstretched arms in this moment, a glimmer of eternity, with unstoppable mortality, looking up at the heavens, expanse of rich blue, a canvas upon which the outline of intricate bare branches is strewn. Last night, the 6th night of Hanukkah, I sat for a long time in front of the candles by the window as their wax burned down with a slow melt, ultimately, reluctantly, yielding themselves up in a puff of smoke, life and death, Dveikut. I think of my grandmother, whose yahrzeit is the 5th night. I can hear her voice and feel her presence. She passed to the world of souls just a few months before Leah, now 14 years ago. I imagine them there together in the heavenly Garden of Eden, where each midnight the Holy One delights with the souls of the righteous in the mysteries of Torah. Hanerot halalu anu madlikin, these candles that we light, these candles. At twilight, in the liminal crossing of sunset, the sky lit up above my house, through the trees and to the horizon of my sight, fire yellow, the heat of a divine flame, earthy, sacred candelabra, and the trees blackened stick figures with their intricately bare winter branches, the sky a marvel of deep and light purple shades, heavenly brush strokes of orange and muted blue. Altogether, the world alight with the miracles of Hanukkah, sent from the depths of the deep, from the roots of all imaginings, divine mystery. And this purple, yellow, orange, blue, black light gestures now in my mind to hopeful dreams of emerging from the death and suffering of this plague. Last night, as their heat and their glow washed over me, I chanted a slow minor key melody, learned from a friend I knew long ago. Maos Tsur Yeshuati, strength, strength, the rock of my redemption. Music, the gatekeeper of memory. The opening into a soul full of yearning. A rock that I have needed and leaned on for a long time. The crackle of candle flame running rivulets of wax. Contemplation of wonder and pain. Nostalgia. Blue light and fire, Shekhinah, a throne to the layered divine light, emerging as the black of mystery that flows out from the white light of pure compassion. Black fire on white fire, Torah of the time before time that poured forth from the divine fountain. Blue flame, chelet, searing heat, and yet like the cool waters of azure ocean into which all rivers run. Ethereal rachamim of that unending stream, and the coarse finitude of this inescapably mortal life, burned up like the wax, like the oil, soul absorbed into the unity of divine fire through the fierce obliteration of what was, of what makes us human. Ya Adonai Tzur Olamim. And there, in sadness, God's ineffable name is burned up and blown to the winds like the scattering of ashes. The letters Yod and Hey of the name floating back up to heaven like the letters that flew from the first tablets of Sinai, the ferocity of fire and idolatry, our confounding finitude, burnt up into reabsorption in fire of infinity. Yearning for tikkun and healing, though I dwell in darkness, God is my light. Kishalhevet hakshura begachelet, like the flame that is bound to the coal. Unities seamless and strong. Circles where endings are bound to beginnings. Na'utz sofan b'tilatan, and the fire. The hearth and its calming warmth shielded by the metal screen. Nevertheless, it soothes, it heals, tended with grace and gentleness, but still enough force and ferocity to ignite the logs, breathing oxygen like a tamed monster. Inhalation and exhalation, sending sparks and wood smoke rising up through the chimney and out into the freezing winter night. Sign of home, coming home. I remember that scent of family that filled my nostrils returning from work in the city so many years ago. Premonition in the smell of burning logs that spoke to me of love and inwardness and home. Where the tree of life snapped like a twig, cutting life in its prime, reverberating trauma for more than a decade. I remember that time before the darkness, when it was wrapped over our small family like a coat of bitter fibers. And so you are buried and remixed in that place I used to visit so often. Now in the smoke rises from the fire, strange and very different flame. The exiled Yod and Hey of the name billow and waft like lost wanderers in this land of the living. Chokhmah and Binah, searching for each other like lovers in a crowd of unknown faces, unmoored, like the priest man's broken hallelujah, and the letters rise again. The letters that blaze and ache and cry, remembering with nostalgia and with triumph that it was in and through and with them that God, breathing and speaking and engraving so very long ago, and then again, now, in this eternal, radiant instant, created heaven.
The Butsnia de Kadrinuta, Eitan, it's so remarkable, this poem, just to dwell on for a micro minute before we turn from the deep mystery of fire into Thanksgiving. And I'm just curious if you wanted to share a little bit of a window into how it is that for you as a poet, you were able to discover all of these resonances that come so deeply inscribed in the mystical journeys of the Zohar in the light of Hanukkah, because in many ways we are, as you say, in the space of confounding finitude, burnt up into this reabsorption in the fire of infinity, and yet there really is nowhere explicitly that I'm aware of in the Zohar that actually even addresses Hanukkah, and yet for most American Jews, Hanukkah is the holiday par excellence where we have a Yiddishkeit attack and we remember, oh my God, I'm Jewish. And you have managed to weave all these narratives together in such a powerful, poetic way. How did you discover the inspiration to weave these elements of Zoharic poetics into the poetics of your own journey, your own voice, and through the landscape of America? Give us a window into the creative process for a moment before we move from the mystery of fire into the depth of gratitude with Thanksgiving.
I think that the Butsina de Cardinuta, as you mentioned, which is this phrase from the Zohar, this really unique phrase from the Zohar that people have debated as to what it means. It's a kind of paradox, right? It's some have translated as hardened spark, but I think it's most evocatively and most correctly translated as spark of darkness, blackened spark, right? Where it's all the birthings of light and color and wonder and creativity that are held in that darkness that is impenetrable, that darkness that is the ultimate mystery, the ultimate ineffability, inexpressibility. And yet from that is born this light of divine creativity, and this light of God's desire to be known, and also in some ways in parallel the kind of yitziratiyut, the kind of creativity wanting, needing to be born from the heart, from the soul of the person, the artist, the poet, the spiritual seeker, trying to find the words that are lost in that paradox, that are lost in that mystery, that also capture the kind of joys and sorrows of human experience, and our struggle with life and death and memory and hope. But that to some extent, if Hanukkah is the holiday of lights and miracles, right, then it represents that it holds within it the mystery of that flame that the Zohar very powerfully talks about as being layered, right? The lowermost layer being blue, being Shekhinah, being that gate to the inner, and the highest being the white light, and the middle being the black light. And so the mystery of the layered light is the mystery of knowledge, the mystery of experience, the mystery of revelation of God. And that we rediscover the miraculousness of God and the miraculousness of life and all of its immense wonder and immense suffering, and how that is also a miracle of divine proportions.
Amazing, amazing. So we have lots to give thanks for, and given that we're moving from Sof Maaseh b'Machshava Tchila, we know we're going to reach Hanukkah, but we have to start with the gratitude of Thanksgiving. Why don't we open our hearts now to this beautiful, beautiful piece that you've written called Thanksgiving, which really is timeless, but is time-stamped as 2018.
I can still hear America singing in her multi-toned voices from the meadows and wide roads of New Jersey to the Gothic cathedrals and red brick apartment buildings of Upper Manhattan, brushing against the working poverty of Harlem. At Midtown, the skyscrapers stretch greedily toward heaven, as though all the money in the world could somehow conquer death. Towers of Babel built again with the many tongues of New York, chattering and wailing below in cacophonous street music. Rising into the sky and rushing through the maze below are a million different lives, each one filled with daily earning and striving and dreaming. America is whispering the public library, debating in university classrooms about divine existence and moral goodness and beauty, about truth and race and economic inequality. I gaze westward from here, my back to the great cold ocean, and I can almost see clear to Lake Michigan and Illinois, to the towns and Chicago of my adolescence, to my parents' home for most of my life, and on to Minnesota, the land of my own child's birth, where she emerged on a freezing afternoon in a college town. America still sings there in a sweet and clear voice, not forgetting the prophecy of the old Brooklyn poet. And she sings through all the towns and cities in between, land of the Sioux and the Ojibwa, spaces of Shakopee, Minnehaha, and Dakota, before the French came through, then the frontiering pine loggers and fur traders. America sings of marvelous November, of orange light afternoons and chilled azure evenings, streaked with starlight and early snow, spiced with sage and cranberry and pumpkin pie. Near and also far, she recalls the transcendent spaces of home, of childhoods remembered and longing for first innocence, of memory and hope and hours of now, just now, glowing present. But even in her gratitude and sweetly sorrowful recalling, America still sings with a moan, now a groan of agony. Freedom still denied or suppressed, where children are gunned down in school, where old men and women are shot in prayer, where grandfathers are murdered in supermarkets by bigots deranged in hate, where wildfires devour towns and lives in California, like the eruption of a cursed underworld. The earth poisoned and plundered and then shrugged off with indifferent avarice, where the desperate and the destitute turned away, where the huddled masses are shoved away from the arms of Lady Liberty, her masked and shifting face in 1,000 crowds. There, America is screaming misery, And there America is singing a low and mournful song, that the bells of freedom may yet ring in their night. There once was a dream of America, and her wonder yet gleams in brown and black and white faces all over this land. From the red rocks of Arizona to the freedom trails of Boston. But she is also a dream becoming, never still, never stagnant. She is a dream becoming in the work of justice, in divine love found in the most broken human face. America, fragile, lifting, singing with the chords of an unforeseen melody, raising us toward a new gratitude and the open heart of reborn prayer. America, freedom restoring souls, faces of the children, still in youth's magical time, play and dream and hope. On the edge of the great unknowns of life, parting slowly from childhood itself. For the shimmer and the fullness of this time, for the mystery of this hour, for all that may still be good, still unbroken.
I love this low and mournful song that you have shared with us, Eitan, and I really feel like around the table of every Thanksgiving celebration, this should become the new liturgy that we recite. There's just so much depth and breadth, so much richness, and there's just so much color that you are painting on this palette that gives us a sense of the open-hearted possibility of reborn prayer. And I really hope and pray that that sense of gratitude amidst its brokenness and its rebirthing is something that we all really take to heart, because what your epic poem has done for Thanksgiving is really, I think, returned us to the mystery of the hour and given us a deep sense of hope that there are still things that can be good and unbroken. And I guess with that, what I'd like to do is, I'm just so moved by the power, the prayerful, poetic power of your words, that maybe we should just go straight from gratitude right into love. Ahavta, you shall love, you must.
Mountain stream, hidden, untouched, ancient, now revealed as open river, life in motion, fresh water salt marsh, receiving ocean. All streams becoming one in the great absorbing sea. She is Sabbath, mystery of the hours, column of light, bridge through the span of time, was, is, will be. Arc of becoming, future. Kaleidoscope of the past. Spaces and moments remembered. She is time in process. The present, here and now. Come with me, bride of my youth. Let us travel to the fields of crossing, boundaries of the in-between, where shadows rest and wild woods loom. Hands folded on chest, eyes closed at the instant of sunset. Love, commanded in mystery. Ahavta, human and divine. Torat chesed al lishona, compassion in her mouth and on her tongue, sweet as wine. Whisperings of love before the dawn and into the brightness of the day. Love pouring forth, spilling over body and soul from the depths. And there I cry out to you, 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 you. River of God life, you are sent into me, and your light flows out of me. Torah of this world, this body, each person complete, mystery of origins, vessel of creation. This is the Torah. A man, a woman, a child, each fragment of a light once whole, buried in the earthy ground of darkness, black soil through fingers, promise of new life, born in a springtime foreseen. This is the Torah, a child's love. Play with me and hold me. Stay with me until I fall asleep. This is the Torah. A man in pain, a woman broken-hearted. I am with you in your suffering. Anochi imcha b'tzara. Torah, body of God, word become flesh. This land of sorrow and remembering, but also of grace, of love, sudden unexpected compassion. Love pouring forth like wine. You are loved with a boundless love. Fragments of Torah scattered on this earth, otherworldly particles thrown gleaming into rooms of soul and heart interior. Crumbs of light illuminating the darkest wood. Forest desolation. Fearsome solitude. Mitzvot. The slow kisses of divine love. Aching for desire returned. In the resounding quiet of midnight's bedroom, in the stillness of the small sanctuary, in the house of study after midnight. Loving with the fullness of bodies blended, reaching toward each other in the dark silence, mitzvot sent as tender gifts between lovers in the daytime, markers of longing and sweetest hope. Prayer alone in the woods, raised by the music of grass and trees, or in the minyan room, solitude in the crowd, love letters to a soulmate, exhilaration of confession. Find your way back to me, she calls. A soft moan in the distance of a journey reborn, forward looking to heaven's redemption. Souls reincarnated and bodies resurrected. His quest for home across the void of a dark expanse. Home. In this landscape of alienation, the suffering of being human, his heart opened in muted yearning to that ahavat olam, love eternal.
Thank you, Eitan, for that incredibly inspiring reading of such a powerful poem that really, in many ways, should be around all of our journeys and landscapes wherever we find ourselves. Whether it's moving from the hidden lights of Hanukkah that you inimitably evoked for us in the poem about Hanukkah, or moving through the place of gratitude and thanksgiving, and now here, Ahavta really is, again, not just a prayer alone in the woods, but in the landscape of suffering and of being human. You've really inspired us to open our hearts, even if sometimes they may feel muted, to that Ahavat Olam, to that love eternal. And I'm incredibly grateful for the music that you have evoked and shared with us tonight. And really, I want to also give a major shout out to your musical collaborator tonight, Aaron Lightstone, who is the mastermind behind the remarkable musical project known as Jaffa Road. Their new album, called Until When, is spectacular as Eitan's lyrical poetry that I encourage you all to check out. And as we come to a conclusion of our festivities for this evening, I want to just turn it over one more time to our feted poet, Eitan, who is celebrating this remarkable moment on 19th Kislev, which will become known in the history of Shira Chadasha and Chassidut, of new mystical poetry and the renewal of compassion and love that you have shared with us tonight as a very, very important milestone on this journey towards the heart of poetry that you have shared tonight. Any closing words that you want to share with those that are gathered and those that are going to be receiving this through the different Gilgulim and iterations that we will share down the road together? Make sure, of course, to get your copy of Embers of Pilgrimage. In the chat, we have given you the link to be able to get that through Amazon, as well as to check out the work that Panui is doing, and of course that Jaffa Road is really the beautiful Truma, the soundtrack that Aaron has improvised tonight, which is unique. It's really only here and now in this moment. So Eitan, final words as we celebrate this Mazel Tov moment of birthing Embers of Pilgrimage into the light from the darkness.
So thank you, Aubrey, for your beautiful insights tonight. Thank you, Aaron, for your beautiful music. And it really was powerful for me as when we first did a little collaboration experiment to have that kind of fusion of the music and the mysticism and the music and the poetry. And I want to thank in Kol Alev Aubrey for seeing the potential in this work and helping to bring it to fruition into the world, and I'm very grateful for that, and have felt from the beginning that you in your work with Panui, your work as a rabbi, as a scholar, understood and got some of the energies that I was trying to put out into the world, and so that's very meaningful to me, and to those who are listening and or watching. It's really such a pleasure to be able to share this poetry and this music with you. And I want to thank some of the special people who have come from different places, including a couple who may have even been mentioned in some of the poetry. And so it's beautiful to share that with you. So may Panui continue to grow in its light and its influence as a spread Torah, and the light of gratitude to blend the two holidays to the world.
Amen, amen. I think, Eitan, this is now going to inaugurate the canonization that at every Thanksgiving table we will have to begin the renewal process of reading Thanksgiving, not just 2018, but every year, the beautiful poem that you've shared with us. And may that always lead into the discovery of the mystery of all the plethora of lights, from the blue to the black to the white lights, and the gradations of the spiritual journey through your amazing poem on Hanukkah, which I hope we'll read through the 8 days as well. And every day, really, this is a book of poetry that you can carry in your rucksack with you wherever you are on your spiritual journey. And I hope and pray that you will take these words with you that are mellifluous music that Aaron has offered us, really as an inspiration to realize that poetry is the key to redemption. And I'm incredibly grateful tonight for all of your presence, and especially to Eitan for his remarkable poetry, and to Aaron for his remarkable music. So stay tuned for more birthings to come. But tonight we are here on 19th Kislev to celebrate the Hitchadshut of this remarkable poetry, Embers of Pilgrimage, which is now available on Amazon. Have a blessed evening, an amazing Thanksgiving, a Chag Orim Sameach, and may the light of this remarkable poetry continue to shine and bring us home soon. Thank you, everybody, and take good care.